Hey, so we are talking about documenting everything. When I was in the military, I learned that if you didn't document it, it did not happen. And when I was in the medical field, it was extremely important that we documented every single thing because when I worked in the NICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit where the little babies come out all small, or maybe they have certain complications that require them to stay in the hospital longer than normal, we couldn't just say, oh yeah, I fed that baby over there. What time did you feed him? 8? Well, how much you feed him? 10 cc's? I mean, hello. But if it wasn't documented in our chart, then the doctor would be like, okay, but you didn't document it. You didn't document, you didn't issue, you didn't sign. So I learned a lot in the medical field. Another thing I learned was to always have a pen and paper everywhere you go. If you're going to a training, if you're going to a meeting, make sure you always have a pen and paper. And so I used to always walk around with like a little notebook and pen because the reason was you never know when someone's going to say something inspiring, something that you want to always remember, okay? And so everywhere I went, I always had a pen, I always had a paper, and I would write down things that were like aha moments or things I needed to know. And as a young airman in the military, that really impressed a lot of people because they were like, wow, this person really wants to learn. And it gives you that sense that you don't know everything. So I don't know everything. So I'm always walking around with pen and paper. So if I'm going to a training, I'm going to be that person that has a notebook, a couple of pens, some highlighters. I mean, that is my personality type anyway, but still, I make sure that I always have all of those things. So back to documenting. You want to make sure you document everything when it comes to childcare. You know, like the second most important thing I always talk about, you know, besides the children, everything when it comes to childcare would be documenting. I talk about policies being like the number one important thing, your policy handbook. The second thing for me, highest on the list, will be documenting. If you do not document, it will not, you'll just have a headache. You understand? Because people forget things, you forget things, I forget things all the time. Yeah, I always forget things. I mean, but I bind that in the name of Jesus. I remember things. You have to kind of like bring things in. But anyway, yes, right, document. The moment a parent comes in my policy handbook, I talk about FYIs for your information. So as soon as a child comes in, I ask the parents, any FYIs for your information, and then I quickly say any bumps, scratches, bruises, medication your child is on right now, anything going on with the family that we need to be aware of that will affect the child's behavior today. And the parents will either say, oh yeah, she has a scratch that she got over the weekend, there's a bump on the nose, and so on and so forth. And so as I'm doing that, I'm scanning through the child's body real quickly, looking over the head for any head lice. Yes, make sure you check out the video. Black people do get head lice. You're going to hear my story. It's going to creep you out, but guess what? Life goes on, okay? But you need to check head lice. So I'm scanning the body for head lice, scanning the head for head lice. You know, it doesn't have to be also obvious. You're all like, come here, Johnny, let me see if you got only head lice in there. No, you're not going to do that. You're just going to look. And once you see head lice the first time, you'll always know how to spot it because mostly this is the indication right here. They're constantly walking in the door. And then you're scanning, making sure any scratches and everything. And when the parent leaves and shuts the door, that's when you want to look through the shirt. And sometimes if they're still talking, you can look behind the back and all that stuff. And I quickly say, go use the bathroom, because when they go into the bathroom, that's when I could also look. Or if I'm going to go change a diaper and check, I always do this right at the beginning. Because you might see like a diaper rash or scars on the legs and stuff. And then I quickly go onto our Class Dojo. We use this app called Class Dojo. It is free. I will have a video up for that if it's not already up. And basically I say, hey mom, I just want to recap. You said little Johnny has a scratch on his left arm, forearm part from this weekend playing at grandma's house on the trampoline. You also mentioned a scratch on the left side of his face by his nose. After you left, I scanned his body, I did a diaper check on him, and he does have a slight diaper rash. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Let me know if you have any additional comments, questions, or concerns, or anything you would like to add to this. Now, the whole reason for me doing that is because, again, liability. You want to be just like the nicest person in the world. You want to be Mary Poppins, and it takes a spoonful of sugar and makes the medicine go down. The medicine go down. But you're not, okay? We're not Mary Poppins, okay? And Mary Poppins was like so dope. Like, she probably had like the best lawyer in the world anyway, if someone did try to sue her. But sadly, you have to always keep in mind, I could get sued for anything. You're dealing with people's children, so you can definitely get sued for anything. So document it, okay? And so you want to document and communicate every single thing that comes across your way. And because I take documenting so serious, I document during nap time. My best friend, my assistant, she documents during nap time. If it's something like that we're not putting down right away, sometimes we'll write it down, but we'll go in there and we'll do it through Messenger. We'll say, Mom said this, Dad called and said this, and we document it because you'll be surprised. I mean, I've been doing this so long, and people do forget and people do change. A parent who is your best friend one day can turn around and try to just make life very, very difficult. But when you have a list of conversation going back and forth in one area, it really does save you. It'll also save a child. We had a child who time out. I have to do something like with this camera. I gotta put like a sticker or something, because the reason why I move my eyes around so much, because I don't know if you ever watch videos, but they're doing this. That means they're watching themselves and they're like talking to you, but it's like, I hate videos like that. So I'm always looking at this dot, which is showing me as if I'm looking you in your eyes versus looking at myself, looking in your eyes, looking at myself, eyes. But then it feels weird, so I look around a lot. So I'm gonna work on that. Okay. That was me rewinding everything. We had a child. Over a time period, we noticed, or actually Miss Destiny was the first person to notice, is that this child wasn't able to jump. You know, he would jump, but she looked at him, she said, his feet don't ever leave the ground. And she called him over and I said, sweetheart, jump. And it was a little child. And it looked like he was jumping, but then his feet never left. So we documented, and over the time, we kept telling the parents, hey, you know, just keep on his legs. We kept singing that. And then one day he was going to get dropped off and he could not stand at all at the door. And right there at the door, I said, hey, take him to the hospital. Get them to look at him. I'm not a doctor. Get them to look at his bones. It may be something going on that, you know, as parents, caregivers, we can't see on the outside, but it doesn't seem to be getting better. Long story short, one of our children, ended up being admitted into the hospital, and his muscles were inflamed, and then there was a whole bunch of other things going on, and I don't want to go too much deep into details because it's still a soft subject for me. Your caregivers, parents, if you're watching, your caregivers, if you have a good caregiver and they're doing their job, they're with your children longer and more hours than you are. So please hear them out when they're trying to tell you little things such as your child's behavior is changing or anything that has to do with their physical. And I just thank God. Yes, I really, really thank God that he was able to be seen, because they're able to catch something that could have prolonged longer and maybe gotten worse for him. So it was very important that you're mindful, you're constantly observing children, and you document. Another situation where you have parents who want to maybe argue about tuition when it's due, and you just type it in there, you know, keep documentation, but we document everything. If mom comes in and in the midst of the conversation talking about the child, she says, but you know what, dad hasn't been home in 2 days and we've just been fighting and it's just been a headache, so on and so forth, I document that as well. And I'll go in there and say, hey mom, thanks for dropping off. I made sure to document his jacket is inside. Grandma will be picking him up today. You also mentioned that you and dad were having arguments back and forth. Please keep in mind that we're here to help your child. Anyway, if possible, if anything changes and you see changes in his behavior at home, let us know, and we'll keep you up to date of any changes in his personality here. You see how I did that? So it wasn't like we're being nosy, but you want to document, because again, Later on down the line, anything can happen, and you're like, oh, this is me scrolling. Hold on. Right there. You can point it out and be like, yeah, that happened. So if you are a child care provider right now and you are not documenting, shame on you. Like, for real, shame. And I know you're not going to want to do it by writing freehand, so get some apps. It's okay. We are in the technology is everywhere, okay? So join us. Get Class Dojo. Another one I love is Tadpoles, especially for children who are still in diapers, infants, because it allows you to document their bottle feedings, all those things. It's real easy. It's just click, 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 click. And then an email and a text message gets sent to the parents when they check them out. Boom, it's real simple. Parents get those alerts. So the communication is constantly back and forth, and it's also another way to make you stand out. It's another way that parents say, you know what, I love this childcare because they keep me up to date with everything through the parenting app. So go check out Class Dojo. It's question of the day. Do you use any apps to help document, or do you free write it? Do you have any stories of things that have happened that you wish you would have documented? Comment below. Remember, we learn from each other. This is an amazing group of people. Always make sure you like the video, share the video, and of course, learn from the video. See you guys next time.